Nova Scotia changed its immigration selection yesterday and it's time sensitive, so let's get straight to it. If you have an NSNP application in the pool right now, you could be contacted any day. And if you figure that priority list closed the door on you, stay with me, because this update says otherwise. Hi, I'm Bella Lee. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant with Langille Immigration here in Nova Scotia. I help applicants who want the final comprehensive review of their application before they submit, because once it's in, you don't get a second chance to fix it. So this update is for two groups of people. One, anyone who already submitted an NSNP application and is sitting in the pool. Some of you are about to get picked. Two, anyone thinking about applying or thinking about Nova Scotia at all who's been staring at that priority list wondering if there is any point. This is not a small housekeeping update. The message hidden underneath is very simple. That priority list is not the whole story. You might have a shot at Nova Scotia even if your job isn't on that list. Let me show you why. So here's what Nova Scotia announced on July the 14th. They are doing a one-time expansion of who they'll select from the pool. And the reason is simple. They have nomination spots left for this year. And there are a lot of people who are already here and whose work permits are running out. So instead of losing workers they've already got, they are doing one poll to keep them. That's what this is about keeping people who are already in Nova Scotia. So a couple of things to be clear on. This one is only for people already living and working here. If you are overseas, this specific poll is not for you. And I'll come back to you later, I promise. And this is a one-time draw from applications that were already sitting in the pool. So to be in it, you needed an active NSNP application already submitted, and your work permit has to be expiring in 2026 or earlier. If that's you, then you qualify if you fit any one of the following 5 situations. 1. You are in a tier 0 to 4 job in a key sector. So health and social services, construction, manufacturing, transportation, agriculture, natural resources, or professional and scientific. 2. You graduated from a Nova Scotia school and you're working almost any job, tier 0 to 5. 3. You live outside the Halifax area and you're working almost any job, tier 0 to 5. 4. You're in sales or service tier 0 to 2 and you were earning at least $20 an hour when you submitted. 5. And this is the one to pay attention to. You're in any job at all and you're earning at least $27 an hour when you submitted your application. Look at that last one, right? Any occupation, no list, just a wage. So what's Nova Scotia really measuring here? Not your job title. Whether you're settled here, contributing, and planning to stay. Hold on to that because it matters later. Okay, so say you're one of the people who gets picked. What actually happens? This is where I want you to pay attention because a lot of people misunderstand it. First, one thing about Nova Scotia that catches people off guard, in most programs, your first submission is just a profile, and the real application comes later. Not here. In Nova Scotia, the application you already submitted is the full thing. So when they pick you from the pool, they are looking at the file you submitted months ago, exactly as you left it. That's why this next part matters so much. When you're selected, the province contacts you directly. If you're not contacted, nothing's wrong. Your application just stays in the pool. But if you are, they start assessing that complete file. And being selected is not being approved. It just means that your file matched what they're looking for at the moment. Here's where files get into trouble. If your application is incomplete, it can get sent back instead of processed. The province is clear about that. And if something doesn't line up, a date, an address, a job title that doesn't match your other documents, that's not just a delay. That's where they start questioning whether your file is genuine, and that's where applications get refused. On top of that, they may ask for updated documents during the assessment. So anything with an expiry date, your employment letter, your pay stubs needs to be current and ready to go. So the file that sits in the pool has to be right before it goes in, because once you're picked, the clock is running and you're not rebuilding it from scratch. If it clears, you get a nomination. From there, you've got 12 months to take it to the federal government and apply for PR. And even then, IRCC still has the final say on medical, security, and background. The province wanting you is a big step. It's just not the last last one. So let me talk to those who are getting ready to submit right now, because the selections are not theoretical. They're happening. The file you put in the pool could be the one they open a few months from now, exactly as you left it. So this is the moment it has to be right. And that's what an application review is. We go through everything you've prepared together, and by the end, you know exactly what to fix before it goes in, what's missing, what doesn't line up, and what could get your file returned or rejected. Because the thing is, nobody catches their own mistakes. If you want that second set of eyes before you submit, the link to book a review is in the description. Now, let me give you the complete picture, because yesterday's expansion sits on top of a list from April, and you need both to know where you fall. Back on April 27th, Nova Scotia named 3 groups. Top group, healthcare and skilled trades, tier 0 to 4. That's the only one open to people overseas. So if you are abroad, that's your lane. Second group, 4 categories: natural and applied sciences, education, social and government services, natural resources and agriculture, and manufacturing and utilities. That's tier 0 to 4, but only if you are already living and working in Nova Scotia. Third group, everybody else, tier 0 to 2, and again, only if you are already here. And tier 5 jobs across the board aren't being prioritized right now. That April list still stands. Yesterday just added one more group on top of it, that one-time poll for people already here with expiring permits. Put those together, and that's who Nova Scotia is selecting today. But here's the message hidden underneath all of this, and is the one that I most want you to hear. Back in April, if your job wasn't on that list, I know how it felt. It felt final, like Nova Scotia had decided that you weren't wanted. And then 3 months later, look what they did. They reached into the pool and picked people who were not on the April list at all. Graduates in lower skilled jobs, people in small towns, people whose only qualifying thing was wage. None of that was on the list in April. So that list is a snapshot, it's not a wall. Being off it today doesn't mean that you're off it forever. Nova Scotia's needs move, and when they move, the list moves with them. Now, I'll be straight with you because I don't want to sell you false hope. In the same update, the province said it themselves. These priorities are not permanent, and don't pick your studies or your career just to match the current list, because it will keep changing. And I'd rather you hear that from me now than build 2 years around a list that shifts under you. So the answer isn't just sit and wait. The answer is that your chances were never only about one job title. They're about your whole picture, where you live, what you earn, whether you studied here, how settled you are. Your occupation is just one piece. It was never the only one. And that's exactly the thing I can't answer for you from a video. Whether your job, your wage, where you live, how long you've been here actually adds up to a real shot. That's what a strategy session is for. We look at your real situation, and I tell you upfront whether or not Nova Scotia is worth the chase for you. The link is in the description. But before you go book it, let me tell you who I think has the best shot going forward, because it might just be you. Now, I want to give you my read on who I think Nova Scotia leans towards next. And I want to be clear, this is my own opinion based on how they built this update. It's not an official list. Nova Scotia did not say who's next. So take it as my professional read, not a promise. When I look at who they pulled in who wasn't on the April list, it's the same thing over and over. Living outside Halifax, a Nova Scotia credential, a decent wage in a job nobody called a priority. Every one of those is really the province asking one question: is this person going to stay? Because that's Nova Scotia's real problem, right? For years, people landed here and then left for Toronto or Calgary. So the people I'd watch going forward are the ones who answer that question well. If you're building your life in a smaller community, I think that stays an edge. If you graduated from a school here, I don't think they want to waste the education they helped give you. And if you're earning well in a job that's not on any list, that wage may keep speaking for you. And here's the thing, this is also what they look at once they pick you. They call it your intention to reside. So being settled here isn't just how you get selected is part of how you get approved. I could be wrong. It was a one-time pull and it might not come back the same way. But if you are overseas or you're here on a permit that's running down, wondering whether there's any version of this where your occupation matters less than you feared, my honest read is yes, there might be. Which brings me to you, the one who wants to stay in Nova Scotia or move here and has been sure your occupation would never make the cut. I don't want you to close a door that Nova Scotia hasn't closed, but I can't tell you from a video where you specifically stand or which of these pieces is realistic for you. That's not a video answer, right? That's a conversation. So if you book a strategy session, we go through your actual situation, your job, your status, your timeline, and we figure out honestly whether Nova Scotia is a real path for you and what your smartest next move is. Sometimes the answer is a plan. Sometimes is here's what to fix first. Either way, you leave knowing where you stand instead of guessing. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video.